Morning YouTube. It's a little bit different recording camera today. This is using my cell phone. This is my Samsung Galaxy S7, I guess. But I was on my way home from work and I figured, you know what? I'm just going to stop here and adjust the valves quick and get the manifold put on and try to button up the head because we've been getting some rain lately, and as you can see, it was dripping a little bit on the head, so I don't want it to get inside there. Obviously had it tarped up, but tarps aren't 100% waterproof, so I've set the valves at 0.018. I know it calls for 0.017, but that's when the motor's hot. The motor's obviously cold, so I gave it a little room for expansion. Hopefully that's enough. And right now I'm going to mount the housing that goes on the front of here that holds the thermostat, goes on the front of the cylinder head. I still need to put the fittings in for the, well, this would be the breather tube for the air cleaner. This is the connection for the crankcase to governor oiling and breather tube. And I also need to put the oiling tube on top of the head here as well. So I'll go ahead and get that done, and once that's done I'll take a little bit more video, and I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time here, maybe an hour or so, but I just wanted to take advantage of the 65-degree morning. So we'll continue this in a little bit. Alright guys, I got the valves all adjusted. They're good to go. I got the thermostat housing mounted and clamped in. Everything's tight. Let's see, what else have I done? I mounted the generator bracket, and I installed the new oil filter and housing. Let's see, I've got all the fittings in for the breather tubes coming off the air cleaner, and I've also got the new gaskets for the manifold, and I think that's what I'm going to do next. And this time I'm going to try it. I don't know how it's going to work, but I'm going to attempt to install the carburetor on the manifold prior to installing it on the tractor. Just because it is a kind of a tight squeeze to get to the back bolt on here. So I've got it installed on there, so we'll go ahead and see how this works. I'm going to try to set my cell phone up so you guys can see, so hopefully it doesn't fall. And I don't think this is... Well, I'm going to get the manifold bolted up before I do anything, and go from there. Looks like I'm going to have to modify one of these washers a little bit, so I'm going to do that quick, and we'll see what happens with this manifold. I'll see if I can hook up the throttle and make sure that the linkage is working. So hang tight. Well guys, it is easier to put the carburetor on after the manifold is on, just so you know. But I did get everything mounted. Manifold's torqued to 53 foot-pounds. The air cleaner tube obviously got new hoses, new clamps. I got the throttle linkage all hooked up, so that's run back, although I'll probably have to take this off because I believe it runs through the gauge cluster mount. So I'll probably have to take this throttle rod off. I got the radiator support rod installed. The magneto is on. I've got the new spark plugs in it. Oh, I should tape up this hole so I don't get a bunch of rainwater in there, just in case. But basically all I've got left to do is mount the gauges, run the oil line for the gauge. I have to get a couple of fittings for that, and mount the gas tank, put the grill on, install the generator and starter, and then I should be able to add fuel and see if it runs. Oh, I got to put the steering shaft in still, but I'm going to wait until I get this gauge cluster figured out and get those fittings that I need. But as you can see, we're coming along. So I'm just going to add this into the next video, which hopefully will be my first run video. So I believe this is episode 15, but it's looking really good. I'm getting pretty excited. I worked longer on it than I was going to today just because I'm excited. So stay tuned for part 2 of this episode. Talk to you later. How you doing, YouTube? This is a continuation of episode 15. We are headed back to hopefully finish assembly today and maybe try to fire this thing up. See what happens. It's another hot day today, but I hopefully brought plenty of water. Otherwise, I'm just going to resort to drinking out of water spigots at my buddy's place. So we'll see what happens. I got quite a bit done. I'm filming on the GoPro again today because, well, first of all, I remembered it, and second of all, I don't like the way my cell phone camera works for making videos. I mean, it's all right, but it ain't no GoPro, you know. So hopefully we get it back together and get to hear it live for the first time in I don't know how many years. You know, when you pick something up from a salvage yard, they don't have a clue how long ago it was ran, and I don't have a clue. So judging by the fact that it had oversized pistons and rebuilt clutch plate in it and pressure plate and all that, I would say it probably wasn't too long ago that it was ran. But you never know. It could have been 20 years ago, 25 years ago. I don't know. But we'll continue this when we get back to the shop, and stay tuned. All right. Later. Hey guys, well, we got a little work done. Let's see, I put the steering shaft in, so that's in. My oil gauge and temperature gauge are installed. Got these spark plug wires all set up, ready to go. Let's see, I got the generator on. And I have to run to the hardware store because the fitting that I've got for the sediment bowl does not quite jive with the fitting on the gas line. This is the original gas line that I pulled off of it. So I'm going to have to try to find a fitting that works with that, or at least convert it to a fitting that will work. But yeah, we're getting a lot closer. But I'm going to throw the grill on really quick because I think that's about the next thing to go on. The grill, the gas tank, and then the hood. So I'm going to leave the camera rolling while I put this grill on. Kind of a christening of sorts. There we go. Starting to look like a tractor again. And if we get down from this angle, it looks like an M. As you can see, I did plug these holes up top here. I gotta finish grinding them, but plug welded them. That's a typical wear for the front end because the bolts on top of the steering pedestal, over time the radiator shifts backwards, and that's what holds the grill in place, excuse me. And these grills rub on these two front bolts on the top of the front pedestal. But there it is so far. I gotta run to the hardware store and then come back, and hopefully I get the gas tank on, get the gas line ran, and you know, put some fuel in it, maybe put the fluids in it, see what we can work out with this thing. All right, stay tuned. How you guys doing? Well, we've got pretty much everything ready to go. I just got to add fluids. So gas tank is on, fuel bowl is hooked up, I even got a battery hooked up. I made my own cables. This is welding cable here, and then This is actually copper tubing. What I did was I cut probably a 2-inch chunk, and then I put flux on the end of the stranding of the cable, and I slid the copper tubing over that. Then I soldered inside the copper tubing to the battery cables. After that, I flattened the ends, so it's basically a flange, drilled a hole, and that's how I mounted these cables. I already pressed the starter button just to see, and the starter does work. Starter button does work. So that's a fairly old starter button, which is surprising to say the least. But yeah, I'm going to top off some fluids here, put the hood on, and well, I don't have the hydraulic control rod on yet, but that's no big deal. But there it is, almost there. So we'll let this camera run. I apologize for the neighbor mowing the lawn in the background, but hey, people got to get stuff done, right? So let me go grab the hood and I'll slide that on real quick and we'll see what it looks like. There it is, all buttoned back up. I got the hood on there a little far back, but let's top off the fluids and hey, let's give it a go. I'm excited. Alright guys, well, it's been almost 4 months to the day, and we went through a full motor rebuild, and well, a full motor rebuild. I haven't gone through the transmission yet, but I'm just waiting to see what it sounds like. And I've added fuel, oil, antifreeze. Let's see if it'll start. Well, I think that means we need some more power. Let's see if I can get us some more power. One moment. All right, let's give it another try.
Well, let's let it charge up for a minute, shall we? Give it another shot. Hold on. We'll get her going yet. Let's give it a shot with this jump box. Can't seem to get it to spin over fast enough. Alright, well, we've let it charge for quite a while now. We'll see what happens. that battery was any good, because I could not get that thing to spin over any faster than it was. So I had to pack up. I'm getting pretty tired. I didn't even sleep yet today. Got home from work at 7:15 and went grocery shopping and then came straight here. So it's 4:30 now. I'm beat, but well, we didn't get it started, but that's okay. I think we deserve a episode 16 with a grand finale. So I'm gonna pick up a new battery and try it again. I know we got spark, and I know that it's timed correctly because I cranked it over by hand with the ignition off just to make sure, and my magneto trips just as the first double punch mark passes the timing pointer or the timing needle on the front timing cover. There's 2 notches on the crankshaft pulley, and that pointer should point to the first notch just as your impulse on your magneto clicks. So I know that's correct. I know we're getting fuel because the carburetor was dripping a little bit, and I know we got compression. So I even tried disconnecting the ignition switch, or the on-off switch, whichever you want to call it. I thought maybe that was bad and was grounding out all the time, but that did not do it either. So it's got to be the fact that the battery doesn't have enough juice to crank it over. But we will we'll try again in episode 16. We'll try to make that our grand finale episode. But at least we got to hear the thing crank over, and that's promising. The starter works, that's good. And